It was perfect weather for round 5 of the Porsche Carrera Cup North America, presented by the Cayman Islands at the historic WEATHERTECH Raceway, Laguna Seca. The rolling hills of Monterey, California provided a great backdrop for 32 911 GT3 Cup cars in a field spread across the Pro, Pro-Am, and Am categories.
It's one of the heritage tracks. It's been around for 50 plus years. It used to be built on the old Army base.
As far as driving it, lots of elevation changes, extreme elevation changes, the most being the corkscrew, which is the most extreme elevation change of any corners in the world. It has to be. The front tires literally feel like they come off the ground.
It's a very technical racer shark track. I nickname it the Dragon because it's a beast.
But because of the dust, it makes the track extremely low grip. The track surface is extremely polished, so whenever there's heat on the track, it makes it extremely loose, more of like a greasy feeling.
Like at Long Beach, you kind of like just went for it like you're driving, you know, your tool would be like a hammer, whereas here your tool is a razor blade or a scalpel. You have to be really, really sharp.
It's basically, it feels like driving in the rain. You got to be really smooth, really clean. If you start over pushing, you first destroy the tires, and second, you destroy your own lap time as well.
Going into the weekend, Kai Van Berlo of Kelly Moss Motorsports had been a perfect 4 for 4, winning each race this year. In a shift of momentum, Van Berlo was outqualified by both teammate Riley Dickinson and MDK Motorsports' Trenton Estep.
Race 1, Trenton Estep puts his right foot to the firewall.
As the green flag dropped for the first of 2 races, Estep led the field over the crest of turn 1 and into the Andretti hairpin. A number of drivers took advantage of the large brake zone and tried to grab positions, including Parker Thompson and Lee Keen. Both made strong moves, but unfortunately Efren Castro was not so fortunate and found himself off course and turned around.
Is that? It is, you know, it's Efren Castro, isn't it?
Yes.
It is Efren Castro.
He suffered damage to the rear of his Porsche, and unfortunately his race was over. By the end of the first lap, Thompson was able to squeeze by and take the lead, with Estep, Dickinson, and Keen all trailing close behind. Tight racing up and down the field led to multiple door-to-door battles and some beautiful passes throughout the race. It was Dimitri Democas from the 311 RS squad that was battling for 7th when Michael McCarthy and Democas came together at the exit of turn 2.
There's another spin, and this time it's Dimitri Demarcos in the black number 11.
A couple of laps later, McCarthy and Van Berlo battled and did their best to get around TJ Fisher.
Mike McCarthy going through a TJ Fisher, and Kai Van Berlo has followed him through. They're hunting in packs.
Up front, Estep and Thompson leaned hard on their Michelins, and it seemed like there was never more than half a second between the two of them for the remainder of the race. In Pro-Am, Justin Oaks made his way up to 8th overall, putting a large gap between himself and the next car in class. In the end, it was Parker Thompson who managed to break Van Berlo's streak and claim the win, followed by Trenton Estep and Riley Dickinson. Lee Keen finished 4th, but unfortunately was disqualified in post-race tech due to a ride height violation.
Race number 1 of the weekend, Porsche Pro-Am.
In the Pro-Am category, it was Marco Cerrone who executed a beautiful late race pass to take the class win, ahead of Alan Metney and Justin Swearingen.
Cerrone will go through into the lead in the braking area.
It was a rough day for Justin Oaks. He led the Pro-Am class much of the race, but pushed a little too hard early, causing his Michelins to drop off in the final laps, getting passed by much of the field. And for the 4th time this season, Mark Kwame drove his 911 to victory in the amateur category. John Getz and Bill Smith rounded out the top 3.
It's probably my most intense battle for a win in sports cars. You know, usually it lasts 1 or 2 laps, but we lasted a whole 45 minutes of grinding away on each other, Trent and I.
You know, this is our second event, and we were really concerned because learning this new car, we were a year behind, right? So we always felt like we were at a disadvantage, but my team did such a great job to prepare the car and make it good for me. This one's for the team. I didn't do much out there. The car was perfect. They did all the work, and they deserve all the credit.
I mean, this track is actually really brutal. The tire deck was amazing. I'd say about lap 10, I barely had any tire. The Michelin tire is an amazing tire, but it's like sandpaper out there. So it was survival the last 10 laps. It was a good race.
I think tomorrow is probably going to be a little bit tougher, probably a little bit more aggressive. Maybe, you know, other guys that didn't have a chance to do well today want to prove that they can do well tomorrow. So I expect tomorrow to be still clean, but slightly more aggressive.